And it's time to take a look at the stories making headlines on the newspapers this morning. And I have with me in the studio to take a look at this, Dr. Dayo Kayode is here, public affairs analyst, and Shijibumi Adebi Bennett is also here. Gentlemen, good morning. Nice to see you both.
Good morning and
Happy New Year. Exactly.
Happy New Year.
We're just seeing for the New Year. All right. It's okay. Well, let's get into the papers now. Let's start with Daily Independent. Daily Independent says 2023 presidency battles PDP over bid to return to power. That's what Daily Independent says, and asks party to stop lying. Nigerians are not fed up with Buhari's government. APC behaving like deaf and dumb. The PDP saying this, says his only achievement is stagnating the economy. That's what the Daily Independent, that's on the front page of the Daily Independent. Daily Times is next now, and it says experts worried about 2021 budget parameters. Experts worried about 2021 budget parameters. So that's the Daily Times. The National Economy says experts worry as Nigeria's debt profile rises by 20 trillion naira in 5 years. And total debt now 32.2 trillion naira. It may hit 38.68 trillion naira by December. That's the federal government is saying further there. The National Economy. Okay, Leadership newspaper says the federal government states move to tackle crime, civil unrest in 2021. Job creation, youth empowerment, agriculture, security, revenue generation, infrastructure top the agenda. Okay, that's a Leadership newspaper. Federal government states move to tackle crime, civil unrest in 2021. We'll wait to see how this certainly will pan out as we get along. Now, let's. The next paper now is News Direct. News Direct says Nigerian News Direct Man of the Year, legendary strides of Sanwo-Olu in 2020. Okay, that's the News Direct there now. Okay, the blueprint is next. It says New Year's tragedy, 150 bandits storm Kaduna village, kill 15, lose 4. It's really touching there. Niger mourns 7 slain farmers, and gunmen invade Bayelsa community, set houses ablaze. Fighter jets strike terrorists in Borno, and Buhari condoles with the Niger Republic over killing of 70. It's really a sad occurrence. That's the Blueprint newspaper. Business AM this morning says road to economic recovery mixed for Nigeria in 2021. Road to economic recovery mixed for Nigeria in 2021. Amid ailing economic performance, inflation could climb to 16% in January. Growth in non-oil sectors to improve from the first quarter of 2021. Electricity tariff hike is also possible. Okay, all those on the front page of the Business AM. Business Day is next, and it says Nigeria in 2021, without reforms, expect more of the same. Without reforms, expect more of the same. That's what Business Day has on the front page there. Certainly, we'll look at some of these issues. The Nation newspaper is next now, and it says COVID-19 spike. Federal government considers another lockdown. 33 die in 1 week. Doctors knock governors for reopening schools. Okay, federal government considers another lockdown. That's on the front page of The Nation. The Daily Sun says COVID-19, Adeboye blasts federal government and can false restrictions on crossover services, vows to continue laying hands on the sick, and Archbishop Martins cautions against lockdown. We're using Ebola experience to tackle pandemic, says he. Okay, these are all stories on the front page of the Daily Sun. The Punch newspaper is next now. School resumption. Oyo, Rivers, Sokoto, 4 others shun federal government's directive. States disagree on federal government's January 18 resumption date. We received directive from our governor, not the PTF, says Zamfara Commissioner. Okay, all that on the front page of the Punch newspaper. The Vanguard is next. Fight over 40 billion naira threatens reopening of varsities. Fight over 40 billion naira threatens reopening of universities. Non-teaching university staff unions meet on Friday. A disparity in sharing of earned allowances, unpaid minimum wage appears top agenda. NAT writes government demands percentage of 40 billion naira. So the issues are there on the riders of the stories on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Daily Trust is next, and it says, why Lagos Kebbi rice vanished from markets. Traders, farmers lament, and political intrigues responsible. Those are opinions there, explaining why Lagos Kebbi rice vanished from markets. All right, you remember the lake rice? Okay, that's a Daily Trust. Now, the last one we're looking at now is the Guardian newspaper. And Guardian says revenue crisis may worsen as OPEC meets amid COVID-19 vaccine uncertainties. Cartel sees mixed outlook as inventory remains high, and stakeholders ask for the government to hedge cuts by leveraging high prices, uninterrupted production. Okay, revenue crisis may worsen. That's what the Guardian has. Okay, gentlemen, we've seen through all the papers now, some of them talking about what 2021 would look like and what should be done. I like the way daily, okay, let's look at, let's start with this, let's start from home, let me say. Daily Trust is trying to explain why the Lagos Kebbi rice vanished from the markets. I wonder, Dr. Kaide, I wonder if you've seen the last time you saw lake rice.
Even when they were talking about lake rice flooding the markets, how many people were able to access it?
Okay.
I could remember in those days when they started this lake rice of a thing, you have to go to the ministry. I mean, sometime somewhere in Blue Roof at Alausa there. Okay. The premises of Lagos Television, you know, where they distribute it, and then you see people on long queues there and there, you know.
Were they for sale or they were for distribution?
They were there to probably pick what they have paid for.
Okay.
Yeah, I think government normally deduct it from their salary or wherever.
For civil servants?
Yeah, for civil servants.
Okay.
Then you now go there.
It means you've never really seen it in the open market.
Then sometimes you go to APC office. APC office, yeah, at Acme Road. That one at Acme Road. I've seen people, you know.
That's the political party.
Political party APC members going there to also collect and all that. But to say that I've seen it in the market, I would say no. I haven't seen it in the market. Neither have I seen people going around with it. And then for them to now say is vanished from the market due political intrigue and all that, I wouldn't know the kind of political intrigue that is there. Other than where this thing is being planted, Kebbi, we're all aware of incidences of security breach there. And most of us have been talking about these bandits going to farms, maiming, killing people, not allowing them to stay in their farms to farm. And we have been saying, well, look, this thing is going to affect food production. And that is part of what we are seeing now. Because Kebbi and Lagos State, they have decided to come together and then produce this rice. Each and every one of them have their own area of strength that they got to put together for this. So, I wouldn't want to see, I wouldn't want to be that political intrigue.
Okay.
Rather, effects of incidences of security breach.
Okay.
Within
in Kebbi State.
that axis.
Oh, okay. Well, the point there is, when the idea of the lake rice came up, it was a beautiful thing, and a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Lagosians welcomed it. In fact, the first batch of rice that came, a lot of people rushed for it, and in fact, they kept expecting more of it. And for it to vanish in less than few years, where no one sees the rice again, I wonder what you make of starting something, sustaining it to the end, about us as a people.
I believe that this was forthcoming, but the challenge is when things happen, we just focus on the stories. We don't go to when the effects. We don't go to the source when the stuff started. If you can remember very well, middle of last year, there was flood in the north, and there was drought. Yeah, I do a bit of farming. I have friends that planted 400 acres of cashew nuts, all gone. So we were experiencing drought here. I have someone on a forum I belong to that had maize on like 500 acres. And they had to use manual means of trying to wet the farmland. So we experienced a lot of drought here and so many things. I also planted oil palm, nothing to show for it. So, and this is the experience of an average southwestern farmer or southern farmer, if I may generalize. If you go to the north, it was flawed, apart from the fact that they had a lot of, security breaches and incidences. So, having said that, we also have a situation whereby by the time the government, so that means we couldn't have enough, like previous years. Like Dr. Kayode said, I think Blue Roof was supposed to be for maybe civil servants, because I've had a situation whereby my wife picked from Blue Roof before, and I had to go convey it to the house. I have also picked from Maryland before.
Okay.
So
local government?
I think so. Well,
local government?
Yes, behind the Catholic church and school.
Okay.
Adam, Maryland. So I've had times that, like 3 times, we've had cause to get it.
So he got lake rice 3 times?
Not yet, not this year.
No, because the wife works in the ministry. He said it.
No, that was different. Okay. I got the first
from
time
the
it
market.
Happened, yes, I got not from the market. When Lagos State started, there were distribution centers.
Okay.
You could go there and pick it, but they will only sell 1 bag to you. There was structure.
Okay.
So anything that is happening to lake rice,
and that was because the number they couldn't meet the demand.
They could meet the demand.
So,
yes.
But they had to do it in such a way that it goes round.
Thank
everybody.
you.
Okay.
There was structure. The problem with lake rice, apart from distribution this year, apart from the incidences of not much supply, the blame should be put on the table of the Commissioner for Agric.
Commissioner for Agric
in
Lagos
State, yes.
Why is that?
Because number 1, distribution is key.
Okay.
Number 2, transparency is key. So when you get things like that, even if it is not enough, the first thing we had was, that was early December, lake rice is around, and they were going to sell maybe 12 or 14,000. That time, rice was like 30,000 or 25,000 in the market. So the rice merchants were ready. So all they needed...
So they must have mopped it up.
All they needed was, you get your own, I pay you 15,000, I pay you 16,000. Then I resell or I reback. So the Nigerian factor is still there. But the fact is, they were not able to meet demand because supply was short last year because of security incidences and because of flood in the north. Do not forget that the farmers that were killed in, what's it called now? In Bonu, some of them left the same Kebbi and Sokoto to go farm in Bonu. So if Kebbi was okay for them to farm, they wouldn't have left. So these are the different things we forgot about that affected the supply.
So basically, security was a very big key, and the challenging factor of lake rice disappearing from the market. All right, let's get to other issues. The Leadership newspaper has this story that says federal government, states move to tackle crime, civil unrest in 2021, and they outline some of the ones here: job creation, youth empowerment, agriculture, security, revenue generation, infrastructure. They all top agenda here. Now, we all listened to the president on the first, his New Year broadcast and message to Nigerians. If you juxtapose that against these areas, because he made a lot of promises on that day as well. What are your expectations for 2021?
Yeah, as much as I'm a very, very optimistic person, I don't like painting a bleak future. But based on what we are seeing in the papers, the pointers we are seeing now is showing that, look, for government to tackle insecurity, youth unemployment this year is going to be a Herculean task. And I will tell you this. Look at the borrowing now, the debt profile of Nigeria. By December, they have even projected it to about 38, all right?
38 trillion.
Yes. Look at the inflationary rates. There was also a news there talking about hike in electricity price. All this put together is going to affect our economy drastically in terms of, one, exchange rates. It means exchange rate is going to go up. It means per capita income, all right, is going to reduce. That is, your ability to chase products with your salary is going to reduce drastically. That means also industries will not be able to produce as they are supposed to produce, all right? To that extent, there will now be high rate of unemployment. Two, budgets to also be executed becomes a problem, because some people have even been saying that that budget has no concept. Okay? So to that extent, that means crime rate will shoot up. But when people are hungry, people become so angry. And when they are angry, they do every other thing to survive. Okay? And when crime rate is also high, that means series of security breaches will still happen, to the extent that it will still affect our agricultural products, just as we have seen that it has affected lake rice now. So to a very large extent, I think government should be more sincere in administering the people, because the indices we are seeing here now is not going to portend anything positive for Nigerians. Not until when you now allow that particular economic team, those brilliant people on that particular committee, to operate, and then listen to them, and then again listen to the yearnings of the people.
It is possible. It's possible they are advising the president, and he is listening, one way or the other.
If the president is listening, if the president has been listening, he wouldn't in the first instance use our money to lay pipe from South to Niger Republic. He wouldn't again use our money to lay railway down to Niger Republic. He wouldn't be sending all our resources to Niger Republic. He would have, if we had listened to those people, he would have followed the advice given to him on how to improve our economy. Because now economy is key in Nigerian development, both political and social.
Let me bring Shinji Bumi in here. Now, we talk about the issue of budget. The federal government has its own budget, which is for all Nigerians. If you break it down, the 36 states have their budget for the same number of Nigerians, only based on the section. Local governments have their budgets. As much as the three tiers of government are not working in harmony when it comes to projecting their budgets, as to what project to do, because the federal government has its own plan for health, its own plan for education. The state has its own plans as well, as the local government, as the case may be. But if we get into what an average Nigerian should benefit in 2021, what strategy do you think can be deployed here for Nigerians? Because the point there is, if we are together where we are right now, we're under a local government, and the local government has its budget for us. we are under a state. The state government has a budget for us, and we are within Nigeria, and the Nigerian government also has a budget for us. But one way, somehow, it seems they all work at cross purposes.
That's the challenge, because when I was listening to you stating everything, you started and you did the explanation.
No, I'm just trying to lay the foundation so you tell us.
We just saw something on TV from the news that Oyo, Sokoto, Samfara, even the commissioners saying we don't take directives from the federal government, we take from the governor. So everybody works at cross purposes. The federal government is saying no crossover service. The governor in Oyo State said he approves. So sometimes the problem of Nigeria is not even the center alone. For me, I've always said it. Bulk of the problem rests with the states. No matter what the federal government does, if the states do not key in, if they still continue with all this politics and all that, nothing will happen. So because you cannot be pulling in different directions and you get movement. It's not possible. You won't get progress. So it's just going to be a cycle. Now, having said that, what can we now do differently? The economic team don't forget that they are advising the federal government, not the state government. And when they advise the federal government puts money where they advised the money to be put. But in this same Nigeria,
we assume so.
Yes, we assume so, because there have not been refuted and there has not been anybody that resigned because they did not do what they advised the government to do. So, but the state government, when you give them money, do you know what they do with the money? You don't. Some governors are in jail because of ecological fund they pocketed. And the places where they were supposed to spend those monies are still there. People are suffering in those areas. So when you look at all these things, the only thing the federal government can do is be a leader. Call the states. And maybe have a committee, apart from the economic committee, which is the National Economic Council, which the states have, incorporate it into the advisory committee of the government. It doesn't mean that if there is no bad thing in everybody working towards the same purpose, it won't cost you an election, because people have made up their minds that, okay, this person, I believe, is better than this person. Because even from the two political parties, we've seen that they are just half a dozen and six. It's almost the same thing. I'm so sorry. Let me just try and conclude. Okay. So when you have all these situations, the only thing I'm glad about is those new policies being signed, the amendments in the Constitution. Number one, that the judiciary and the assemblies are going to be like what's obtained in the federal level, so they can put the governors on their toes. The final one I want is the autonomy of the local government.
Okay.
You see,
that is key. We're running off now, though.
The
just
most important thing is,
few seconds,
we need to unbundle that so-called exclusive list.
Okay.
So that when we know who is responsible for this, who is responsible for that, so that the federal government will not be making pronouncements on certain things, and the state will not be making pronouncements on the same thing.
No, but there's no conflict. There's no conflict. The point there is, when it comes to concurrence, the state governments constitutionally have their rules, and they have their jurisdiction, they have their powers. That's just what the thing is. Look, there is no conflict as to who has the jurisdiction or who has the powers to, as the case may be.
Look at this issue. When federal government is saying, okay, there shouldn't be crossover nights, and state is saying that it should be crossover night. So who are we to follow?
No, of course.
So those are issues.
Those are issues, and I believe they are political.
That's it.
They're political. So we allow it to. We have to leave you here now. Thank you very much, Dr. Dayo Kayode, for your time on the program. Thank you, Chijibomi Adebiyi Bennett. Thank you very much for coming as well.
Thank you for having us this New Year.
Thank you.